May profits be upon you. Welcome to another weekly Forex forecast update, the midweek update. Yes, we're going to go over the US dollar index, the Euro USD, Pound USD, Aussie USD, New Zealand dollar USD, USD CAD, the Canadian dollar, USD Swiss franc, and USD Japanese yen, right? We're going to go over the forecast that I put out on Sunday, and we're going to look at to see what kind of progress we've made with them, and if we're on the right track to fulfilling the forecast. All right, now, starting with the U.S. dollar index. What did I say? I said that I still had it as bearish, but you see this wick of respect that we're getting with this early week. All right, I said it was going to go down further, but there was a line here, a fair value gap. It's a monthly fair value gap, right? And with those when it's this long ago, all right, this was back in 2022. I'm looking at it as a speed bump where price can, push down into it and then react to it. All right. When I see speed bumps, I always look in the leg that is delivering price to that speed bump. And I look inside of it and say, is there any fair value gaps that price could hit the speed bump and go back and fill? All right. Where price can offer fair value and then continue on the overall trend. That's what I tend to do. All right, because that's the way they usually act. All right, we don't see very many reversals off of old fair value gaps like that. You see reactions though. So let's get back to the update. I picked this line here. All right, this low here for price to sweep, and we got that sweep. That's why you see a little check mark there. We got that right. All right. So after this low, what do I expect from the speed bump? I expect price to pull back up into this fair value gap. How does this work? It's called, come on, man, ERL to IRL. All right. And that is external range liquidity to internal range liquidity. And from internal range liquidity, we go back to external range liquidity. And what we're doing is making a trend, higher highs and higher lows, right? As price goes from, takes this low, and that's external range liquidity, it pulls back into the leg that brought it there, that delivered that price, pulls back into it for internal range liquidity, and then the cycle begins again. ERL to IRL, IRL to ERL. That's the way it works. All right. So we have a fair value gap here, a bearish weekly fair value gap, and I said I'm looking for price to push into that bearish fair value gap on the weekly, and possibly turn back right into it and resume that bearish trend. All right. If we go to the daily, we can see that we are coming very close to our objective. And I don't think that's going to stop. I do not. I think that because we took the external range liquidity, we're heading towards the internal. And this is a great spot for it because there are daily fair value gaps here, and those are overlapped by the weekly fair value gap. So I'm looking at this as a strong area to look for a high probability trade to the downside. Now, bearing that in mind, if the US dollar is going to turn bearish, then I'm looking for the Euro USD, Pound USD, Aussie USD, New Zealand dollar USD to turn in the opposite direction, to become stronger and move higher. All right, so let's go to the Euro USD and let's take a look at the weekly. I pointed out the exact same area of a weekly fair value gap here, And I said price would probably come down into that after we reach our high buy side liquidity objective. And you see the check mark there. We got that right. Price took it out, swept it, and here we are coming back into an area of fair value. So the market can offer fair value here and quite possibly turn around, find support, and move higher. All right. And if we go to the daily, we can see it very clearly. We are very close to our objective here in the weekly fair value gap area. And you can see there is a daily fair value gap overlapping the weekly fair value gap. So this is a good area to look for price to find support for higher prices as the dollar will become weaker once it reaches the fair value gap. The dollar is going to be reaching a bearish fair value gap while the euro is going to be reaching a bullish fair value gap. This actually should be a different color. I don't know why I don't have it, but it's too late. All right. So we're going to the pound. The pound USD is going to act the same way. A little different structure though. All right. I said that we would hit our high buy side liquidity objective, and we just missed it by just a few pips. That doesn't make no sense, right? But we got the bias correct. All right. We got the bias correct. We didn't hit our objective, but price is rejecting from that area into what? Into what? We don't have a weekly fair value gap here to pull into. We're forming one, but it hasn't fully formed yet. But we do have this nice displacement to the upside through a high here. All right. And I'm looking for price to eventually come back into this area for to find some support for higher prices. And one of the things that 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 make me think this way is, one, we have some lows here that are well positioned that you could see on the 4 hour, well positioned for a liquidity sweep. This is low resistance liquidity here, and I'm thinking the price is going to come back, sweep that into this daily fair value gap here. If we go back to the daily, you can see it here. All right. And if we can make it that far, price can be use it to make higher prices, right? The deal is there is a low here that could serve the same purpose. If price taps that low, there is a chance, and I will be looking out for it, that price finds support for higher prices after that. All right, after taking a low, you expect a pullback or a reversal. And there being that we have two areas that we can look for that turnaround here at the low here and at this bullish fair value gap here. There's some good areas to be looking for higher prices for prices to move higher. If we look at the Aussie US dollar, Aussie US dollar, Aussie dollar. Okay. What did I say? I said we had our buy side liquidity here, and we hit our mark. Boom, just like in the euro, and how close we came with the pound. And but the Aussie had an area of supply here. All right, an order block, if you will, that I thought we should get some kind of reaction from, and we are reacting to it very well. And we don't have a weekly fair value gap, just like in the pound USD, for price to use and go higher. But we do have price. If we go down to the daily, we do have a low, just like in the pound. That if price takes that swing low out, there's a good chance that we could see higher prices from there. There's also a weekly, a daily fair value gap under that could trigger price to push higher as well. Not to mention the other displacements below it it could do the same thing, depending on how deep the pullback is. But I suspect that we're not going to get a very deep pullback. I like this high here. All right. I like how it intersects this area where there is lows. There's some discount arrays that price could find higher prices to find support to move the higher prices. But we did hit our mark, and looking at how far this pullback goes. All right, if we go to the New Zealand dollar USD, the New Zealand dollar USD, a little different structure, right? A little bit different. All right, what did I say? I said that we would hit our marks. We after taking out this high, price could pull back, but I like this as our buy side liquidity target. We just missed it, just like in the euro. I mean, in the pound and the Aussie dollar, we just missed. No, I hit it in the Aussie dollar, didn't I? Yeah. It was New Zealand dollar that we missed. Not New Zealand dollar. It was just the pound. But yeah, we just missed it. All right, and price pulled back. But in this one, we have a very nice candle to look at. If we go down to the lower time frame, just one time frame down, we say, is there any support for higher prices in that candle? And what we can see is there is an area here. All right where this high intersects this daily fair value gap, which has this low resistance liquidity right above it. Price could come down here, find the support, and move higher. Just remember, the U.S. dollar is going to be going to have some short-term strength to get to that fair value gap on the weekly, right? And on New Zealand dollar on the New Zealand dollar US dollar, the New Zealand dollar USD, we're doing just the opposite. We're waiting for the strength of the US dollar to drag it down a bit, find its support. All right, and then the New Zealand dollar is allowed to move higher. All right, so we have the draw on liquidity. We have an area where it could find that support, and it's about the same distance as the U.S. dollar has to travel in order to reach its fair value gap, where it may reverse from. So it's something to keep your eye on. U.S. dollar CAD, U.S. dollar Canadian dollar. Let's look at the weekly. All right. Okay. Now, this one's different because it's leading. The U.S. dollar is leading in this one, right? And we can see how the U.S. dollar has weakened, right? And we're saying, okay, well, it should be reaching up now. What shouldn't it? Should be moving higher now. Yeah, it is. This is the weekly candle, all right? You can see that it just took this low, which is our sell side liquidity target, which we hit. Yay! All right. But what is it going to do now? I want to point out, just like I did in the forecast, that we have a weekly fair value gap, a bearish one that price could reach up into and turn around and continue this bearish move into a bigger bullish weekly fair value gap here. Price could move up and then down into this and possibly find support. But we'll get once we get here, we'll reassess. But what I want to see now is price move up, just like it's doing on the US dollar index, move up into that bearish fair value gap, and then continue that bearish drop while the equities go the other way. But that's another story. And I went over that video already yesterday. So, no, actually, I did the metals yesterday. So I have the equity markets to give an update on. All right. So if we go down to the daily on this one, sorry for digressing. All right, we have that weekly fair value gap there. Prices reaching up right now. I'm looking forward to reach that by Friday. So if you want to take short-term buys, I think this is not a bad time to do so in the US CAD. All right. You can see that there is a chance, depending on how this candle forms, there is a chance that we may see a bullish fair value gap develop right here that would support higher prices. Once we take this high, that's when I'll be looking for a price to turn over and head towards this bullish fair value gap down here. If we go to the US dollar Swiss franc, what are we doing? I don't know. All right, we're at the Swiss franc, right? Okay, good. I wanted to get to the weekly. What did we say? All right, we have the weekly fair value gap here. I said that we should be reaching into it, and you can see price took out the lows of the previous 2 weeks and uh, reached up into that bearish fair value gap. I'm looking for price to find resistance here and then continue down. That's what I'm looking for. All right. The US dollar, remember the US dollar index is reaching up into to reach a fair value gap here. It has already reached it. So I'm looking for price to turn over here. Okay. That's a nice size candle. And but this is a very nice size weekly fair value gap. And if we look at it on the daily, you can see there's a daily fair value gap that price is inside of right now, along with this overlapping weekly fair value gap. And it has displaced into it. You can see that there's a weekly fair value gap forming here. All right. I'm looking for price to, turn around and head down lower. All right. This is the last one. The US dollar, Japanese yen. If we go, what are we doing? All right. What are we doing? All right. We're going to the US dollar, Japanese yen. All right. This one again is being led by the US dollar. This pair is being led by the US dollar. And it took out the previous weekly low. We didn't quite reach the sell side liquidity here. Did not quite reach it, but I guarantee you we will. All right. But what price did was take out this low. This is how this works. Takes out a low here. Boom. Right. And what do you expect after price takes out a low? When the market takes out a low, you can expect price to pull back. All right. This is an external range. This is external range liquidity. All right. And after external range liquidity, it goes to what? Internal range liquidity. Here we go. A nice size weekly fair value gap here. I'm looking for price to reach that weekly fair value gap, find resistance, and head down to our weekly target down here, the sell side liquidity. That's what I'm looking for. Whoop. That's what I'm looking for. So that is my review. That is our update rather. For the forecast, I'm going to leave you the actual forecast that I put out on Sunday. I'll leave it up on your screen or in the description. Just check it and go through that, and then you can check for my accuracy and leave a comment, man. Leave a comment if it's helping. Leave a comment if my videos are giving you some good jewels to hold on to and learn from. All right. Yeah, that's it. Just check out the old the link for the original forecast. I will leave it in the description or on your screen right now. And I hope you have a great rest of the week for Thursday and Friday. Hey, may profits be upon you.